Hello, everyone. Hi, good morning, bright and early. Love it. Nice big crowd for our early morning class. Love it. Okay, so I'm Bill G. I've been doing a lot of talking so far, and actually, I decided this year I'm going to make a little change. Last couple years, I've been focusing my talks on like really deep scientific stuff, and this year I thought I would just have some fun with it. And so this particular class is Dowsing Your Shadow, because what I want, something I discovered as I've been teaching dowsing through the years, especially with the various charts, Akashic Dowsing, whatever, whether it's spiritual response therapy or the time temple charts or these advanced charts that I use, is that my students often struggle with the interpretation of the charts because they didn't create them. You create your own charts, you know that stuff. I mean, you know that stuff backwards and forwards because you did the research to, so you know all the lore behind those charts. I've been using the spiritual response therapy charts for 20 years, and they still surprise me. They still confuse the heck out of me sometimes because Robert Detzler, who developed the system, was a Unity minister. So he has a lot of biblical references in there, and some of those references are extremely esoteric and a little, unless you've read both the Bible and the metaphysical Bible, you're not going to understand a lot of it. So I thought it's important for us everybody to be doing Akashic Dowsing. And what is Akashic Dowsing? Akashic Dowsing is simply using your dowsing tool to read what's in your subconscious, which is feeding your now moment in time, so that way you can discover, you can reveal, just like we're revealing water veins and whatever, we're revealing what is living in your mind or living in your subconscious. What are you constantly looping? So that way, with that knowledge, you can then give it permission to leave. Okay? To do this, there's a lot of nuance to it, though. What lives in your subconscious is complicated because it lives in your past lives. It lives in your present life. It lives in your present life traumas. It lives in things that you would rather forget or things you would rather remember. Or books that you've read or whatever. All of this stuff is feeding that now moment. That's feeding this degree of discomfort. And, as we heard last night, the world is going through some massive, massive changes right now. We are all elevating, so we're all ascending no matter what. I mean, you don't have any choice. You're going to ascend or you're going to be left behind. And I think everybody here wants to ascend. I think the ascension path is really in our best interest here. Because wouldn't it be great that we can start really tapping into those superpowers? And dowsing is one of those superpowers. You can everything that you can do with the dowser to find things that are unseen. People who don't know what this is. People who are still stuck in that old paradigm see you waving the pendulum and say, "Hey, I found this lost object that you've been looking for the last 10 years, and I found it in 2 seconds. Isn't that great?" And they think you're Superman. And really, all you're doing is you're tapping into those innate superpowers as you are up-leveling your frequency and you are tapping into the energy of the whole world as it's going through its ascension process, which is phenomenal. So the problem is when this thing isn't working for us very well, or that we're still stuck in some old patterns, or we're still stuck in bad relationships, or we're still at a job that we hate and whatever, and you're feeling stuck, and you're trying to figure out, what the heck am I doing wrong here? What is feeding this moment? Hey, maybe I should turn to my Akashic Dowsing charts or call up my Akashic Dowser. I'm down in the Wellness Center, by the way, in case you want to have a session with me later. But okay, or I buy a set of the Dale Olson charts, which are great, by the way. But again, the Dale Olson charts, even though he simplified them, they still contain a great deal of nuance, and you're like, what the heck is a master program or a semi-master program, and what it does, when it points to a vitamin, does it mean I need more of that or do I need less of that? I don't know. Or exactly, even when I'm doing some of this Akashic Dowsing work and vitamins or colors or whatever come up, or I've got this whole chart on animal totems, and I have to look those things up every single time because I can't remember all of this. There's a lot of nuance in there. But the one thing you all have at home, at least I think you do, because judging by the numbers we're seeing coming in from the bookstore, you all got books. You love to read. Lots and lots of books. Some people, it's a problem. It's not hoarding, it's a library. But the great thing about your library hoard, or whatever you want to call it, is that you chose every one of those books for whatever reason. Whether you've read them or not, you chose them for a reason, because they had a message for you. And even if you haven't had the time to sit down and read that whole book, because that message is probably on one paragraph, on one page of that entire book, and so we're just going to cut to the chase using your dowser. And so I brought a bunch of books from my library, so to kind of demonstrate here how this all works. And this is something anybody can do at home, as long as you're clear on your question. You got to do your Walt Woods protocol here, the may I, can I, should I, and just ask and be specific. This is something I tell everybody when they first sit down with me. They're like, okay, well, I say, let's set a specific intention. They're like, what do I ask? I said, the more specific the question, the more specific the answer. If you ask a vague question, you're going to get a vague answer. If you want, and the power of this tool is getting very specific answers. Like when you're dowsing for water, you want to know that not just where the water vein is, you want to know how far down is it and how much gallons per minute that thing is going to produce, because that's where the value of the water dowsing is. Same thing with Akashic Dowsing. You need to be specific with your question. Okay? Now, does somebody have a question they want to ask? That we can ask these books right here. And again, we're going to be very specific here. We're going to tell our dowsing system here that we're going to go to a specific question, and that specific question is going to be answered in these books. Just these. Because if you ask your dowser, okay, in a book somewhere, you'll be searching the Library of Congress catalog trying to figure out where the heck that book is. Be specific. I've got 4 stacks of books here. The answer is in one of these books. You want to volunteer? Sure. All right.
I'd like to douse out what the best method of approach would be to my partner's medical condition.
Best method to approach. I can't spell. My partner's medical condition. Okay, so again, important to write down. Always important to write down the question, because you may lose focus on the question if you don't have it written down. You're basically telling the universe here, this is the question we want to answer, and we're going to, so we ask the question here, may I, can I, should I, is it in one of the books here? Yes, it is. So, you see, we got a wide variety of books here. We've got everything from, we got some Eckhart Tolle in there, we got some Drunvalo Melchizedek, we got some Arlene Stedman, we've got some what is it, Mark Nepo, whatever. We got all kinds of stuff here. So, all right. So we first ask, where's it living? It's living in this pile right here. Okay. Is it on the top or bottom? Is it near the top or is it near the bottom? It's near the bottom. So we'll start down here. Is it in this book? No. Is it in this book? No. Is it in this book? Yes, it is. Is it in any other book on this pile? No, it is not. So it went to Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior by Chogyam Trungpa. Yes. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. So how many pages are in this bad boy here? It's got 202 pages. So we ask, what page is it on? Is it on page 012? It's on page 100, and you imagine a number line in front of you, and 100, is that 80? 80, 82, 182, page 182. What's on page 182? Oh, we were close. We're in the appendix. 182. So it's right on that first paragraph here. Okay, well, again, don't question it. The answer is probably not as specific as you'd like it to be. The answer is it might. I don't see any meaning in it, but that's just me. So we got. Oh, you follow him.
Well, I respect his.
You respected him. So, well, it's saying that Shambhala Training also offers a graduate program of study for those who complete level 5 and sponsors various cultural and social events open to participants, friends, and interested public. So, it is suggesting attend an event, one of their events. Huh?
Fix myself first.
It could be. It could be saying that, but it could also say that what you're going to get out of meeting these people and understanding what they do is going to help you find that thing that's going to help your partner. It's pointing you on a journey. It's not necessarily pointing you on, it's not giving you an answer, it's giving you a journey. Cool beans. Oh, who knew where that was going to go? Okay. Anybody else have a question? Yes, go ahead.
So what would yesterday he talked about the rings of the Saturn
Yep.
collapsing.
Yep.
So what would the collapse of those rings have, what kind of effect would it have in my health?
Oh, okay. All right. That's an interesting question. What will the collapse of Saturn's rings have on my health? Very specific question. Love it. I always worry sometimes that when I ask a question and I go to a book, I'll end up with a blank page. You know, sometimes they got those blank pages, and that I worry about it every time, but it's never happened. So, oh, the question is, what will the collapse of Saturn's rings do to my overall health? Okay, because Dr. Peel mentioned last night. Yeah, and this is true. You know, some people blame it on, it's the entire solar system going through an upgrade. And they've actually shown that global warming is happening, not just on Earth. It's happening on the entire solar system. So all the talk about it's all man-made, it's all carbon. That's only part of the truth. The whole truth is it's a combination of both. That there is man putting a lot of carbon in the atmosphere, producing greenhouse gases, but it's also the entire solar system's going through this, because the entire solar system is moving through a denser energetic field based on its orbit around galactic center. Now, the Mayan calendar talked about that. It's the Vedic calendar. We're moving into that new golden age, and we haven't been in that golden age. The last golden age was 20,000 years ago. So we don't have any, conscious memory of all of that, although some people who can go back to their past lives or past life consciousnesses where they were Atlanteans and whatever. But anyway, let's answer this question. All right, is it in the books here? Yes. May I, can I, should I? Yes, we can. Where is it living? It is living in this one here, this pile right here. Is it in the top of the pile or the bottom of the pile? It is in the top of the pile. Is it here? Yes. How to meet and work with your spirit guides. Didn't say it would give you a very specific answer about your health, but if a roundabout, it usually does. All right, how many pages in this bad boy? We have, I try not to include the bibliography unless you really want to, because sometimes sometimes I have been directed to a bibliography and it was like, this is a book you need to read, because it pointed to a book in the bibliography. All right, 187 pages, short book. So, 0, 1, show me. 100, 1 to 8, show me. Is that a 5? That's a 5. 159. 159. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Get these things always surprise the heck out of me. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 paragraphs on here. Which paragraph are we looking at? Or paragraph 1. Aquatic life. Aquatic life can also be a totem. Water is a symbol of the astral plane experience and the creative element of life. Various fish and other forms of aquatic life symbolize the guidance that comes from our intuitive or feminine side. Those guides who work through those images will help us awaken that aspect. So we go back to the question, what does the collapse of Saturn's rings have to do with aquatic life and spirit guides within the aquatic world, and with a specific connection to health? Water is definitely going to be an issue. And the life within that water is going to be an issue. One could also say that the collapse of the Saturn's rings may be affecting aquatic life across the planet, because they are upgrading as well as us. Because all the aquatic life, your microorganisms and your fish or whatever live in second density, at least according to the law of one. They are gaining consciousness. They're becoming individuated. Yay them. Huh? Huh? That's right. And the totem animals or the intelligent, self-aware aspects of these second density animals already have self-awareness. Tree, you may think of a tree. Tree doesn't have self-awareness. Heck yeah, they do. They are third density. So, as the world is moving up, upgrading in this, this change that's going on, your relationship to water is going to change, and what you I don't even know if it has anything to do with what you consume within the water, because I'm trying to relate it back to health, and I'm getting a no on that, but I am. Oh, kidneys is good. Water with I'm okay. You're up. Your kidneys are definitely going to be affected. Does that have anything what Dr. Peel was talking about last night with the being the acidic versus the alkaline? Yes. And that's very much water related. So, I would interpret this to say that water is that you need to be working more on alkalizing your body, which will help you connect with not only the water animals, the water beings, but it will also help promote better health. If your water is acidic, that's not going to help you. Or neutral. You need to be working on that. So, I I use a product all the time that alkalizes my water. It's called BLK drops. BLK drops. It comes in a little black bottle, black drops. I use it every day. I put about 3 to 4 drops in a 16-ounce glass of water. Instantly alkalizes it. And since I've been doing that, my health has actually has improved tremendously. And my dowsing's gotten better. I just get them on Amazon. I don't know of any retailers, especially in Rutland, you know.
You can buy water, ionized water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would drinking a little bit of baking soda help as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. That's an old remedy.
I'm sorry.
Would you please repeat?
Oh, yes. Taking a little baking soda. Will baking soda help? Yes. Yes. Is it what's vegan? Oh, the BLK drops? Yes, it is vegan. Yes. Eternal water. Well, let's ask. What's the percentage of good for that water for your body? And I'm getting 100%, so you're good. Anybody here get water from the water fountain outside? I just did. All right. What's the percentage of good on that one? Ooh. Not good. Not good. That water is quite acidic. It's good in a pinch to quench your thirst, but don't make a habit of it. All right. Anybody else have a question? This is a lot of fun. Oh, okay.
My question is, how can I support my nephew who died recently?
Oh, okay. So you want to support your nephew who died recently. Okay. How do I support my recently departed nephew? And again, if I spell anything wrong, please forgive me. I'm a numbers guy. Okay, how do I support my recently departed nephew? So, first ask, is it in the pile? It is in the pile. Okay, so where are we going? We're going over to this pile over here. Is it on the top of the pile or the bottom of the pile? It's at the bottom of the pile. So, is it in this one? No. Is it in this one? No, it is not. Is it in this one? Yes, it is. This is a popular one. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. I like this one. It's a tough read to just sit down and read, but it's easier. This one I find it's easier just to pull stuff out of it. Of course, that's just my opinion. Okay, so how many pages in this? All right, let's see. 191 pages. So, 0, 1, show me. 100, 0 to 9. 80, 84, 108, page 184. Likes the high numbers for some reason, but whatever. It's fine. It's 83, 84. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Show me. It's on paragraph number 4. So this is actually a short one. I do not see how one can surrender to suffering. As you yourself pointed out, suffering is non-surrender. How can you surrender to non-surrender? So this is actually a Q&A portion of the book. That's the question. And it's interesting that it's not providing you with the answer to that question, because it wants you to answer that question. So the question here is, back to how do I support my recently departed nephew, and it is to learn what it means to surrender. I would say to not only to your grief, but also to surrender to the fact that he is on the other side now. Don't try to fix it. Don't let it go. Don't touch it. It's his journey. He's done. He's gone. He's done. At least he's done here. He's not done. No one's ever done, but he's done here. So that is. There it is. Just let it go. Just allow it. Learn what it means to surrender. Cool stuff. I love Eckhart Tolle. That's why I got 2 of his books in here. He's always handy. All right. Yes, sir.
How do I get past my plateau in transmediumship?
Ooh. How do I get past? How do I get past my, what is it? What do you call it?
A plateau.
A plateau. Plateau. Yeah. Plateau. I can't spell
Don't
plateau.
look at me for that one.
All right. My plateau in my mediumship. Yeah, we're in a room full of left-brained people here, or right-brained people, or right-brained people. Okay, how do I get past my plateau?
You got to be a little more specific.
Okay.
Because you said
Oh, yes.
call it vocal channeling to be more specific.
Okay. Focal channeling. I'm sorry, local. Vocal. Sorry, vocal. Sorry. Vocal channeling. Okay, so we're specifically going on our vocal channeling. All right, is the answer in the books? Yes. So where is it? All right. We're going to this pile again. All right, is it the top of the pile or the bottom of the pile? It's on the bottom of the pile. Is it this one? It is. All right, that was quick. Develop your psychic skills. And they see that one was backwards. No one even saw the spine on that one. Yeah. Okay. So, need I say more? So 107. There's 176 pages to it. So where are we going? 1, 2, 0, 1. Show me. 0. And we're going to page. Looks like we're going to. Is that a 4? That's a 3, isn't it? Yeah. Page 30. 39. Page 39. Page 39. I think okay, we got several paragraphs in this one. We got one. Actually, no, it's just a big freaking paragraph. She was verbose. Okay, we got 2 paragraphs. Where is it? Okay, it's a shorter paragraph. That's nice. Okay, I mean, you can look at it. It's the paragraph 1, paragraph 2. Okay. Out-of-the-body experiences are much more common than most people suppose. Many people simply don't remember them. Others assume that they've been dreaming. Initially, OBEs are spontaneous, as are the other altered states of consciousness I have been discussing. Although you can become more aware of these experiences, they happen involuntarily. That is, without your conscious direction. It is also possible to induce altered states of consciousness. These happen when we make a deliberate decision to alter our consciousness or give someone else permission to alter it for us. That sounds pretty much right on. Just allow it. Try not to fix it. Don't touch it. And specifically it's saying allow your altered state of consciousness to simply go, especially when you're doing vocal channeling, you are speaking for an entity who's coming through. So you raise your vibration, make sure you're only bringing in the love and light, because the negative guys love to talk too, and then you bring in those voices and just simply allow that altered state to just happen. If you have that, I mean, I'm not one of these people who does that kind of vocal channeling, but I understand the concept behind it. Do you know who you channel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I had a couple of them. As you progress, they progress, and you have different ones show up.
Cool. Is it kind of like Lee Harris and the Z's and that kind of thing?
Who's that?
Oh, you don't know Lee Harris? Oh my goodness. Okay.
I'm a shaman. I work all the time.
Okay, cool. Lee Harris, he wrote this book, Energy Speaks.
That's the one I was looking at. I thought you were going to go to that one.
Oh, interesting. Well, that would be one to go to too. That would if your eye was directed to it, maybe that's because your eye is a pendulum too. If your eye went to that, that's probably a good one to read too. This one is called Energy Speaks by Lee Harris. Lee Harris is a channel. He channels a group of entities called the Z's. He calls them the Z's. Yeah, he's got a fairly big empire right now. He's he lives out in California. He's originally from England, and he's got an active YouTube channel, and he is an influencer. Yeah, that's what they call him these days.
Bill, can you break down how you and your pendulum are working? I can see that you're using a couple techniques with your pendulum
Yep.
to find these. Can you break it down for us?
Sure.
At the start.
At the start, I write down the question, and then I ask the may I, can I, should I protocol. And then I get an affirmative of there, and then I ask, is the answer in one of these books, and I get the affirmative.
Right. But tell me how you're getting the affirmative, because it looks like you're using the books as a chart, and
Yes.
your pendulum is sending you on your chart.
Yes.
Okay, so you're doing that.
I'm doing that. And then once I get to the book, I'm imagining a number line in front of me, and with 0 to 9 in front of me. And so that's why I need to know how many pages are in there, because if there's only 100 and some odd pages, then my number line is now going to be 0 or 1 for the 100 space.
You're just simply getting a yes or a no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, when it's kind of like the point and shoot that she was showing. And instead of pointing, I'm pointing. Yes, yeah, no, yes. That's the
Then the number line again, and then you're just now. How are you getting the exact pages? Are you watching your pendulum?
I'm watching the pendulum, and then I'm listening for the word, because sometimes because it's an imaginary thing. So sometimes it looks like it's maybe going to a 9 or an 8 or whatever. Then I'm like, okay, then I ask, is it 9? Yes, it's 9. And then I know it's 9.
I thought you were watching the pendulum maybe swing 9 times.
Oh no, that.
Okay,
I mean, you could do that. You could do that. I'm terrible at counting.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody know that.
You're an accountant.
Yeah, don't let anybody know that. Math was never my strongest subject.
So to follow that through, like if it was 159, you do the 1.
Yep.
And then you would do it as 50?
Then, well, if it's then the next one is the tens. Start with the 100 space, go with the tens, and then with the ones. Then you got your page. And like I said, I've never come across a blank page, because sometimes books love to have blank pages in them because they need filler or whatever, or an illustration or whatever. But actually, you can get something out of the illustration, because I've used this technique for other stuff. It's not just books, because sometimes I'm working with a client, and I've got one client that I see fairly often. He's an elderly gentleman who's toward the twilight of life, and so he wants to see me just to get some perspective, a different point of view. He also happens to be a former priest, which I thought was interesting just off the bat, that he wanted to talk to me at all, because But while I was in session with him, it's like our third session, and he's still on the fence whether or not I'm hocus pocus or not. And so then and one of the charts said go to other, because most charts have an other space on there, and that is usually a direction to either go to another chart or to find a book. And so I always ask, whenever other comes up, I ask, is it in a book or is it on another chart? And usually it says it's in a book. Okay, is it up? And I do a house call for this guy, so I don't bring my library with me. So I ask, is it a book in my bag or is it a book in his library? And he doesn't have a lot of books. And so I was like, and the question was, he was looking back on his life as an ordained priest. And he was trying to get some perspective or some meaning behind it. And so that was the specific question we were going after. And I was directed to a photo album. And so there was only 2 pictures per page. It's one of those smaller photo albums. So I went through it. I was like, okay, is it this page? Is it this page? Is it this page? Oh, here it is. Okay, which picture is it? Okay, it's this picture. Who's this person? And it's some guy at a barbecue. And it was his ordination sponsor. And he was like, oh my God. Yes, he did. The significance for him is that it brought together a story for him. And it reminded him of the reasons why he decided to go into the priesthood in the first place. And because, not to get into too many details, I don't want to reveal too much details about him, but, he was caught up in the controversies, and he got defrocked as a result of it. And so he was trying to have, he told me the story, and I researched it myself just to confirm it, and, he was given a bum deal. He was basically thrown under the bus. And so he's trying to come to terms with this, especially in the last couple of years of his life. And so what this did is it provided him with perspective. And that's all we were looking for here. We were looking because he asks me very vague questions, and he likes to talk to me about the book of Revelation and whatever. I got to break out my old catechism books to to talk to this guy sometimes. But it's really a lot of fun, though, in that a lot of the work that I do with the Akashic and Ascension and all that stuff is all echoed in the Bible anyway, if you know where to look. So we have some very, very interesting conversations. But this provided him with that perspective. Yesterday during our workshop, there was someone there who we got directed to something else. And it was the hook. It was the thing that was the hook of the reading. And I was like, it's in your bag. Something's in your bag that's going to lead us to this. And it was scribbled notes on a notepad. It was a list of things having to do with this person's husband's medical issues because he just had surgery. And so it was her coming to terms with it. So it was the crux of it. It was the desire to expand and learn about things beyond themselves because of a scare, a literal scare in her life. It was just a notepad, and I couldn't even read it because it was done in shorthand scribble. But she knew what it was. So that method works with this too. And like I said, it was the keystone to understanding that whole reading, because it was one of the time temple readings, which are very complicated. And so it was telling a whole story. And it was like that. It was for those of you who understand negative green, it was the negative green foundation of that question. And it was like, boom, light bulb moment. And what that does, so what do you do with this information? You give it, once you understand it, once you learn it, then you can give it permission to leave. But one of my favorite people that I like to listen to is Jacqueline Hobbs. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Jacqueline Hobbs, the Oracle Girl. Anyway, she's at oraclegirl.org, and one of her favorite phrases is, don't touch it. Whatever you're feeling during your ascension process, whatever discomfort you're feeling, your relationships and whatever, and that's something else we're going to discover too as we go through this ascension process, is that our relationships are going to become strained, especially with people who are choosing to stay in that 3D world, who are choosing to stay. What did Dr. Peel call it last night? The Hertz or, huh? Yeah, Hertz. Yeah, those who are not choosing scalar, who is choosing Hertz instead, and we all know them. Most of them are members of our own families. As we are elevating, our desire to be around these people will diminish. And likewise, she was describing that situation when she went into that room and, they were like throwing tomatoes at her, but she didn't even open her mouth yet. It's, that oil and water, hostility. You're elevated, they're not, you're going to start separating. And that's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. It's because transformation hurts. It always does. So doing this Akashic Dowsing is going to help you understand what it is you are hertzing. Herxing, when you're going through what they call a Herxheimer response. You get anyone who's got Lyme's is going through the herbal treatments. You get a heck of a lot sicker while you're going through the herbal treatment. But you're going to get better at the end. And some people say, oh, I feel awful, I'm going to stop taking this. The Herxing is part of the cleansing process. Yes?
I had an experience. I have a good friend. She's just channeling people who died and they
Yep.
come back. And basically my grandma came to me and we wanted to know how grandpa died in World War II.
Okay.
It was very interesting. And my mom and my family being very Catholic and
Yep.
that, this is a sin.
Yeah.
Tell me. Mom, my answer was, Mom, do you remember grandma how religious she was?
Uh-huh.
If that would be a sin, do you think she would come?
Right. Yeah, so for the sake of the recording, it's she was saying that she was someone who was channeling her grandmother who died during World War II, and they were asking her to come through and describe how she died in World War II, and how he died, how her husband died, right? And people were complaining that her family was complaining that, oh, this is a terrible sin to be contacting the dead or whatever, and the response was, well, if Grandpa was a very religious person. Grandma was a very religious person. If it was a sin, do you think they'd be coming down and talking to us? Do you think yes?
Where can you get the charts?
The Akashic charts. You can get them everywhere. Everybody's got Akashic chart. I mean, there's so many Akashic charts out there. You go through the vendor area. Everybody's got an Akashic chart out there. So you go to through Aaron Singleton's table. I mean, the things that he has, you could use those as charts. And something I love to do in my own practice is if I read a book that I really, really love, I'll make a chart out of it. I've got two charts from books that I like. I got the chakra harmonizing and clearing chart, which is based on Cindy Dale's book of the complete book of chakra healing. I made a chart out of it. I don't teach it because it's not my work, but I use it. I also have what I call the Abraham Hicks emotional scale chart, which is from ask and it will be given. I like that list. It was a nice, convenient list of the different emotional states, and I use it. I don't use it. I am directed to it when the client I'm working with is having difficulty manifesting something that they want in their life. So this is going to tell us, where are you on the emotional scale? Because the higher you are on the emotional scale, the more likely you are to manifest something that you want. And if you're lower on the scale, you are going to be manifesting what you don't want. If you're somewhere in the middle, then depending on what that emotion is, it's going to provide a foundation to the overall reading. You know, and if you don't have charts, this is a great method. You know, this is why I'm showing you this. If everybody's got a library, everybody's got a chart. And it's very personal to you, because not everybody is going to have the same chart. But you know, like I said, so I saw somebody with the Dale Olson charts. Dale Olson charts are great. Even the spiritual response therapy charts are great if you are willing to spend the money to get trained to use them. Because if you just pull up Robert Detzler's book and then look at the charts and try to figure it out for yourself, it's going to be difficult because there's a lot of nuance in there. Even my charts. A lot of nuance. I threw a lot of, for the time temple charts, you need to understand visible light spectrum, invisible light spectrum, law of one, Chinese cosmology, because it all fits into what I am looking for when I am using that chart to tell that whole story. So, you know, if you like cool charts, I got a cool one. Veer can attest to that. I got a cool chart. What are we on time? Okay. 12 minutes. Okay. Yes?
I'd love to ask a question about ancestral healing.
Okay, cool.
In a big sense, like to do ancestral healing for large groups of people, like say the native peoples of this continent.
Okay.
Tribe in particular.
All right.
And
So what's the question?
So the question is, how do we best
How to how to
assist with
ancestral healing through me. Again, it has to be personal. So this is not, we're not going to, this is not for everybody. This is just for you. This is your answer. All right. Should I? Yes. Okay, good. All right. Is it in there? It is. Show me. Where is it hiding? Going here. Going to this pile here. Is it on the top pile, the top of the pile? Bottom of the pile? Is it this one? Is it this one? Abraham Hicks. Law of Attraction. The basic book on Law of Attraction. That's cool. The Basics of the Teachings of Abraham. Those of you who don't know who Abraham Hicks, and I think most of you do who know who Abraham Hicks is. Let's see. Esther Hicks is the medium for Abraham, which is a collective consciousness that brought down kind of the law of one. Not the law of one. The law of attraction, which is basically what you desire in highest vibration you receive, and what you desire in lowest vibration you will also receive. All right. So that's 192 pages. So 0, 1, show me. So 0, 0, 1, 0 through 9. So that's a 2. Is that a 1? That is a 1. And it is on page 16. That's page 16. Let's go to page 16. All right. No whammies. No whammies. Okay. It's right next to a nearly blank page, but it's not on the blank page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. Show me. Huh? I do not count headings unless the heading is a paragraph is a big sentence is a sentence of and of itself. Then I'll count it. But like in that Eckhart Tolle one, it was directing me to the question, which was kind of like a heading. All right. So 5 paragraphs. It is on paragraph number 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So this is the evolution of my experience in translating the vibration of Abraham continues every day. Every seminar leaves Jerry and me feeling amazement at Abraham's clarity, wisdom, and love. That's it.
Did you say it again?
The evolution of my experience, and this is actually the foreword by Jerry Hicks. The evolution of my experience in translating the vibration of Abraham continues every day. Every seminar leaves Jerry and me, this is Esther, sorry. Jerry and me feeling amazement at Abraham's clarity, wisdom, and love. Clarity, wisdom, and love. And again, it's amazing that the refrain of Ascension is essentially the same. The don't touch it. Let it be, let it happen. And something interesting that Oracle Girl said recently is that the era of the guru is passing. The era of the teacher is passing. The era of the that all of us have the answers already inside of us. We already know through our inner wisdom, through our connection, through that scalar energy like Dr. Peel was talking about last night. We have that knowledge already. So we don't workshops are fun, speeches are fun. But the idea here is don't necessarily the time for seeking out a teacher or guru is done. There are no more gurus. Even Yogananda said this in his autobiography. There is no more gurus. You have everything within you already. Allow yourself to be the channel for pure love. Seek the answers with your tool. And again, the instructions there is no one way to get to dowse. There's many, many different ways of dowsing. Use the tool that best speaks to you and be the channel, be the change. And, don't follow leaders and check your parking meters. It's that time, because as we increase our vibration, and you think about it for a minute, the following of leaders or gurus or whatever, that belongs in 3D reality, because when we're all stuck in this low vibration state, we need to seek out somebody who's a higher vibration state to tell us what to do. We're all there now. We've all elevated. The whole planet elevated. So we're there now. The answer's already within us. Doesn't mean we still don't have work to do. We have a heck of a lot of work to do. We've got a ton of ancestral energy that we need to clear. We have a ton of karma and whatever to clear. So we use our tool. Use your library. Seek out somebody who's adept at Akashic Dowsing, whatever. I'm in the wellness center. You can come and see me. But, I joke about this, but I'm absolutely serious. I've gotten to the point with my sessions is that most people that I see only need one session. It's a lousy business model. But it's true. It's true. I mean, you get a session from me, and it puts you on that path. And so the need to, some people, lean very heavily on their psychics or whatever. They, see them for every last little thing, whatever. That, that's gone now. The minute you know that you are tapping into a negative high frequency being is when you ask somebody, please tell me what to do. When you say to somebody, please tell me what to do, and then you are with the intention, I'm going to follow whatever you say to the letter, you are engaging in a lower vibration seeking. High vibration seeking is, hey, what do you do? Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. What do you do? That sounds pretty cool. What do I want to do? What feels right to me? That is going to be your answer. And you can use pieces of what everybody's done. That's great. And, got these big, like I mentioned, these big Akashic Dowsing books out there. There's a lot of them out there. There's no crime, although some people might get upset about this, the publishers might get upset about this. There's no crime in taking, saying, hey, I like 2 charts out of this one, and I like 3 charts out of this one, and I like these charts out of this one. That's going to be my new chart set. And that's going to be my go-to. And I'm going to make a master chart that kind of directs me to all of them, so that way it makes it a little easier on myself. And that's your chart set. If there's a chart within the dowsing system or within the chart system that doesn't speak to you, don't use it. Make sense? Okay. Questions? Let me see. We're like 2 minutes left, but anybody have any questions? Any more questions or comments? Did you like the talk? Was it cool? Yes.
To those that came in late, like myself,
Yes.
you were saying some wonderful things as we were walking in the door.
Thank you.
If you could kind of loop back to the very beginning, that would be fabulous.
Okay. Well, okay. To sum up, again, we are in this ascension process. We are all in an ascension process. We don't all own complicated dowsing chart systems. You can buy them, which is great. If you can understand them, even better. But a lot of us don't have a lot of time. But we all have a book hoarding problem. Most of us do. But you chose every one of those books deliberately. You had something inside of you made you buy that book. Use them as your dowsing chart by finding, asking a very specific question. Find the book with your pendulum. Find the page. Find the page number. Find the paragraph. Read the paragraph. That's your answer. Even if, and we picked some pretty, that one, at first glance didn't look like they were answering the question. But they are answering the question. And some of them were very, very direct. I like it when that happens.
You were also talking about how everything that is happening is feeding your now moment.
Yes, everything that's happening is feeding your now moment. Mm-hmm.
So, what were you saying prior to?
Well, last year I gave a talk about our now moment being fed by all of our consciousness expressions, all of our past lives. Everything lives right now. All of time and space lives right now. Everything that has happened anywhere in the universe is happening right now because time is an illusion of third density. Once we move out of third density, time is going to get very wibbly wobbly. And once you get into fifth density, there is no time. Angels don't experience time. They have to lower their vibration to communicate with us. And from what I understand, it's quite uncomfortable for them to do that. But they, sometimes the message is very, very important. So they come in and they they do that. But they have to lower their vibration in order to do that, because they're on a vibration where they could really, really care less about what's happening here, but they care because they are service to us. So because time exists in a single moment, every choice point lives in that moment, and within that 4 to 6 seconds, every choice point is there. And so as we are purifying, as we're going through this process, which is, it's weird that I say it's in a moment and then it's also a process, because it's our 3D brains interpret time in a certain way, even though it doesn't exist that way. That's just why you can gather information from everywhere. Your entire library has your information. Even if you bought that book 20 years ago, and maybe you read it 20 years ago, or maybe you never read that book ever. You picked up that book 20 years ago for right now, which blows the mind, that something that you picked up 20 years ago is speaking to you right now, and it's relevant to what you're going through right now, even though it's sat on a shelf collecting dust for the last 20 years. Kind of neat. Okay, so thank you all for coming. Lots of love, and I'll see you around.